welcome back to the Blessed Beyond Measure podcast. I am your host, CL The Source. Thank you once again for tuning in. And today we're about to have a fun one. Man, this is I'm excited about this one. Today I get to share someone very near and dear to me, man. This is one of my favorite people in the world. This is my blood relative, my cousin, more like my brother, because we pretty much are like the same age. And me, my brother, and his brothers, we just all grew up super close, relationship wise. And, you know, we went to the same schools growing up and everything like that. And I'm very excited to really share this part of my life with you. I love my family to death. And I'm very grateful for my cousin, Jordan Borlaza, aka Chef Jorbor. What up, Chef Jorbor? What's good, dude?
It's good, man. It's a nice, beautiful day here in LBC. Kind of reminds me of home. It's a little gloomy right now, and just feels like at home right now. It's not hot. It's perfect weather right now, so feel good, bro.
Nice, bro. Nice. Yeah. Thanks for mentioning you're all the way in Long Beach. Funny story to those that are listening. Jordan and I moved out to Southern California together back in
2013 November.
13 or 14?
13, because 14 is when I met my fiance.
Ooh, and we'll get into that too. And, you know, congratulations, brother, again, man. I'm so happy for you. And I'm sure we'll talk about that, you know, as part of sharing your story and everything like that. In 2013, me and this man just decided to pack up and move out to Southern California. Didn't really have much of a plan, huh, Jordan? I mean,
No, and the crazy thing too, cause was that night I went out with my friends, and we had everything locked in that day, or like within that 48 hours. We're like, we're ready to move. Or so the anticipation, the nervousness, and everything was like, oh man, a new chapter in our lives. I go out, have fun with my friends, wake up really late, and then you're blowing up my phone. I have so many missed calls. I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, what is going on? And then the funny thing is like, they're like, dude, someone rented out our unit. I was like, what? And then we somehow they had an extra unit, and then we are just like, you know, we'll just go with it. We didn't see it yet. We're just gonna go with it, and we rolled with it. And so many memories from that point on. So, but that day was just like ridiculous.
Hella, I mean, it was stressful. I remember it pretty vividly myself, bro. And shout out to all our other family that helped us move from SoCal, from San Francisco to LA. It was a long journey, a long expedition.
Oh my God. Driving a 16-footer U-Haul through the grapevine was no joke.
What a hell of an experience, huh, bro?
Oh man, I felt like a trucker for a day.
Oh, dude, you sabbed it out too. And this man right here, Jordan, this guy has made that trip back and forth to and from San Francisco, LA to San Francisco, Frisco to LA so many times, as have I. But this guy will work a 12-hour shift, 13-hour shift, and then fucking take the red eye trip out to San Francisco, just like it's nothing, bro. And before we even go any further on that, I must forewarn anybody that is gonna get in a car with this motherfucker right here, because he drives fucking crazy.
You can call me Toretto.
Oh shit, Fast and the Furious right there. Fast and the Filipino over here.
I know.
Toretto. But hey, Jordan, how you doing, bro? How's everything? How's life been for you out there so far, bro?
It's been good. It's been a transition, you know, going from really warm weather, from being somewhere where it's foggy and you have to wear a jacket during the summer, to just really relying on your car instead of public transportation is different. Yeah, people just, even if it's like 5 blocks away, 2 blocks away, they still drive to wherever they need to go, which is, you know. But other than that, it's been cool. It's been an easy transition, you know. On my days off, I try to explore or do something to get my mind off work, just because being a chef is very stressful,
Yeah.
especially now that I'm a head chef. It's more mental stress than physical.
Hmm.
The physical stress is more like second nature. It's like I already built up that extra skin to endure such, physical fatigue. But the mental stress is just like on a whole nother level.
It's
So
different. So
yeah.
let's get into that, man. Wh- So tell us exactly what you do. I know what you do, but let the audience know exactly what you do, man. Like, and what restaurant you work for and what title you hold. I want to know more about that, man.
So from the beginning, I actually left a job for an opportunity to have my hold my first sous chef job, which which is a little daunting because when you're building yourself up in the culinary industry, you know, and you haven't held a higher title than a line cook or excuse me, a supervisor, um, it takes somebody to really see something in you or just take a chance, like, he has X amount of experience. Maybe we'll try him as a sous chef. This will be his first go around. Um, so it's just funny how my owners met me after I got hired, and my head chef then took a chance on me, and he was like, there was something organic and natural about you that I saw, and I took a chance. Plus, like your experience and this and that, and then after 2 or 3 years, he was just like amazed on how my work ethic was and how much I retained from him. He's like, because I don't want to waste my time on people who don't want to listen to me and this and that. And um, he took a gamble and he said it was well worth it because the one thing he valued in me was my adaptability to whatever my environment is. It's slow, then I would like delegate my team to do certain tasks and then cut on labor if I need to. If it's busy, I'm all over the place helping everyone and watching everything. And he was just like, that's the one thing that I value about you that a lot of people don't have is adaptability to your environment. And I was like, eh, I'm just being me. I was raised to work hard and put your best foot forward. So um yeah, and I get to see the fruits of my labor now, like 10 years, 12 years now in the industry. It's been great. But there's a lot of days. You've been in the industry, you know how stressful it is. Like you just want to strangle or punch somebody in the face, but you can't. Especially now, since so before I digress, I was a sous. 3 years later, he asked me to be his exec sous, which is, the next title before you become CDC, or head chef or executive chef, whatever you want to call it. And then as of last year, I was unofficially, officially head chef, just because my chef that took me on was asked to open another restaurant in Beverly Hills on Rodeo, actually.
The
So,
same type of restaurant?
no, the same kind of capacity, but it's gonna be more of a higher end Mexican restaurant with influence from Asia. Um,
Hmm.
because pretty much a lot of cuisine they're like, what would Vietnamese food be without the French influence, right? Like the pho wouldn't be the same. Like there wouldn't be pad thai and banh mi, stuff like that, like Peruvian food, like lomo saltada wouldn't have soy sauce. It wouldn't have that extra umami-ness to it, right? So there's a lot of influences in all types of cuisine. Like Filipino cuisine is just like an array of just like all of our, you know, conquerors, mainly
Yeah.
Spain. China was the influence, so and then you kind of mix it up with like the indigenous cuisine of the land and whatever, so to make it its own cuisine. But yeah, so that is what it's gonna be. Really good menu. I overlooked it. Pricey, I mean, you're on rodeo, so you're
Of
expecting
course,
already. So the
definitely.
whole it is supposed to be like a hideaway, like speakeasy, but so it's tucked in a building, but it takes over the whole bottom floor. Excuse me. There's an open patio. Dude, the kitchen's 10 times bigger than my kitchen, which, you know, I'm a little jealous about, but whatever. You work with what you have. But yeah, so he left to do that. And, I was already seasoned to do my job. And then from there on, at the beginning of the year, I had a big meeting with the owners and the CFO and my chef, and pretty much it was like a knighting, and he blessed me. He was like, "You're blessed. I don't know how to do this, but you're the next guy, and you're it now." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So nothing's really changed. It's, I kind of just didn't want to have that shadow over me, but I talk to him every day for like mentorship and whatever. But yeah, so now I'm the head chef now, and it's been a grueling 5 years with this company. So
Oh yeah. So thank you for sharing that story, bro. I appreciate you doing it. It gives us a better insight into the path that you're on, and the role that you've kind of taken on as well. Now, I forgot to ask you, what is the name of your restaurant and what type of food do you serve there?
so I work at Habana in Irvine. It's actually located in the Irvine Spectrum, which is a huge outdoor mall in Irvine, California. It's literally where the 5 and the 405 meet. At that point until it turns into the 5 all the way down to San Diego to Mexico. Um, but yeah, it's a big outdoor mall. It is a Cuban fare or Cuban inspired restaurant. So we take a lot of influence from Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but our emphasis is to have that so pretty much if you look at Cuba, it's like a small little island, but the people are vibrant, they're loud, they're loving, they're hospitable. The food is it's very flavorful, very full, delicious. Um, I honestly think it's similar to Filipino cuisine, whereas we use a lot of pork, like Filipinos do. They eat a lot of rice. The only thing we don't eat a lot of is beans. But like the food, just like the whole culture itself, um, we're like uh, the Philippines is like the Cuba of Asia or something, like loving people, they always like to party and have a good time like Filipinos do. So, pretty because our GM is Cuban, and he's like, "Man, you and me are like the same, bro." And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm Filipino." He's like, "Exactly, bro, exactly." I was like, "Okay." So, and then he explained what I just said, and I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense, you know." So, yeah, so we're both running that place right now, and me and my GM started from the bottom, and now we're here. Not to quote any specific rapper, but yeah, started from the
shout
bottom.
out to shout out to Aubrey Drake, man. But hey, that's dope, bro.
Yeah.
That's dope. And I've had the pleasure of going to the restaurant. It's a beautiful venue, a beautiful area. Got some outdoor space, really nice bar area, really nice indoor seating. It's just a great, vibrant type of environment and atmosphere. The food's awesome. I think you guys do a really great Sunday brunch. Am I correct?
Yeah, but that was all pre-pandemic. So as right now, our owners really don't want to have we tried to do it again for Christmas, and our owners liked it, but at the same time it we weren't really set up for it. I mean, the food was there, everything looked great. It's just I don't know, it's just like people are still a little standoffish, I guess, about buffets and stuff like that. But we did good
Understandable.
because the server served the food. None
Yeah.
of the guests touched the food. There was always somebody that worked at the restaurant to assist a guest or a patron that comes to our restaurant. But But yeah, our owners just decided to have a couple specials whenever it's like a holiday, like coming Mother's Day and Easter. We're just gonna have a few specials for brunch that I'm trying to create right now. And yeah, so they just want to stay away from that for now, just
Yep.
because of,
I'm curious. I'm curious now that you're the head chef of Habana in Irvine. Uh, how much control do you have over the menu now? Like, would you say you have like majority control over what you serve, or yeah, I'm sure your influence is strong on it, but what would you say in terms of your influence?
Oh, the menu. I would say I wouldn't say 99.9 or 100%, but I would say I have 90 and above.
Mhm.
Um, you
And it's got
know,
to get approved, of course, right? Like you would probably curate the menu, and it
yeah,
would.
like I curated and did the menu for Valentine's, which is gonna be great. So like when I came up with the Valentine's menu, my chef was like, ask your people what they like to eat for Valentine's. Like, Jordan, what do you like to eat? And I was like, I like this, 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 this. And then I would present it to our CFO and our owners, and they would just be like, cross this out, but I like this other stuff. And I was like, okay. So pretty much it's like I'll come up with like a majority of like specials and like flavor profilings and stuff like this.
Got you.
And then they would just kind of pick what they want. They kind of want to keep it simple because honestly, our core menu, a lot of our retaining guests and first timers come and they want to eat, you know, it's like your top 5 things or your top 10 things, and we want to just have like a blurb on top of the menu that says whatever the event is. Like for Valentine's, it would say the Valentine's menu, and then it would have the specials on the top, just a few, because I know I didn't mention this, but my restaurant also is a commissary kitchen for the other Habana, the original location in Costa Mesa.
Oh,
So with the kitchen space I have and the manpower I have, I produce for 2 restaurants. One being half the size of my restaurant, which is about a little over a little lower than 200, maybe 180 capacity, 200 at most. My restaurant is 320, 340, 350 at max.
wow.
So it is a little daunting just because of what I have to produce, and especially like for Christmas, for example. Let me digress. We did the buffet, right, and we tried it again, and it was just I had to keep a long laundry list of stuff to get to that restaurant, plus also think about my restaurant. And it was just like my walk-in was literally, I had like no space to move around. There was like 20 cases of ham, there was like turkeys up the wazoo, there was just a lot of stuff, and it was just like I'm fine being limber, but like for heavy set guys that we work with, I'm like, hey, tread lightly in the walk-in. If you drop it, you buy it. So, um, but yeah, we got through it, and I'm kind of happy that our owners decided not to go ahead with the buffet. I mean, it's easier to prep out just because it's bulk production. But having like 3 or 4 specials on the menu is a lot easier to do, just because it's like I need 5 gallons of this sauce, or I need to order this many proteins, and then I coordinate with my vendors to send a certain amount to my restaurant and a certain amount to their restaurant, and I communicate with the head chef there. So we're pretty hands-on, and we see eye to eye, and I go over it with him and what he want and what he. So yeah, I mean, it's been good, um, but what it is right now.
Now you mentioned kind of manpower, but you also mentioned that that restaurant could seat up to 300, I believe is what you said, or maybe I might have mistaken
350.
it. 350.
Well, seating maybe a little over 320. but like plus standing and all that, do over 350.
So say theoretically on a full house, you can serve over 350 people. How many chefs does that take to serve that amount of people?
So like this past Saturday, we did 1,009 covers. Yeah, we almost broke our record of 57,000 in sales. We did 58, so we went over 1,000. So we already broke it. And I don't know, it's January and we're doing 1,000 covers. It's unheard of. I mean, I'm sure there's restaurants that do that, but that I've worked in, no.
Well,
In
that
January,
that to
especially.
me just tells me you guys are doing something right? And that's
Yeah.
I think that's
No,
a
we're putting MSG in all the food, so we're paying a lot of people.
testament.
Just kidding. We're not, I swear.
I think that's a testament to your food, your product. Like I mentioned, the environment that you guys have. It's a fun place. It's a fun atmosphere to come to. I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, especially at night, like during the day we play very like I would say like very mellow but upbeat like Latin music, and then at night they like bump the Bad Bunny and like
Ah,
the Luis Fonza or whatever his name is, and it's just like, oh, I want to go there. It's
ah.
like somebody's party, and that's the atmosphere, we try to instill, it's very dim, but we have like a nice there's candles everywhere, and
Mhm.
it just creates that like romanticized atmosphere that people want to be a part of, right? uh just switch our cocktail menu, amazing cocktails, I like them. um and then the food, and I'm there consistently making sure everything is running smoothly, and we have new desserts, and we're just pretty much keep going from this point on. We're already beating sales from last year. I mean, granted, last year around this time was a turn of one of the first wave or second wave, whatever it was, but I'm beating last year's sales and the year before that. So that's always a good thing for me and for my GM and for our restaurant to find out like our numbers are increasing day by day by day by day. So
Mhm. By day, by day, by day, by day,
buddy, buddy, buddy.
by day. Hey, buddy. No, but hey, dude. So I want to kind of take it to a different direction in this conversation real quick because I want to know more about your process in terms of crafting and curating that menu because like obviously you're Filipino and you've been working in this industry for a long time, specifically at Habana for years on years now. So you do already have that cultural influence from Latin America and from Cuba and everything like that. So I'm sure you're well adapted to the spices, to the flavors, and you know how to marry that all together. Now I'm curious for your process when you're creating like newer um, dishes and stuff like that. What do you do for yourself? Do you do anything like kind of to just explore the culture even further, try to find like something like a super traditional dish that doesn't really get that much publicity or that's not really well known? Or how does that work for you, man?
Um, well, it helps to have Cubans that work at your restaurant or people of that culture work at your restaurant, or just have, that foresight, because, you can read books and this and that, but like people that actually live it day by day, it helps, right? I always ask my GM like, what are things that you want to see on the menu and this and that, and he gives me his insight, and I work with whatever he gives me, and um but as far as like developing a menu, you have to also keep in mind the demographic of the surrounding area. So Irvine and South is very meat and potatoes. They don't want anything that's avant-garde or anything out of the blue. Like, what is that? I don't know
What
what
is
that
what
is.
is avant-garde for those that don't know?
It's very
I
out.
don't know what avant-garde is.
It's just very out of the blue, and it's just unexpected, and so they go there, and then they're like, if let's say you put like a 32-ounce ribeye on there, and then that'll sell itself. They see, oh, ribeye, I know that. Oh, and it's 32 ounces. But for us to sell it even more, to give them that experience, we would put like a sauce with that flavor profile of like Latin American cuisine, or serve it with a side that is very like you would do
Plátanos.
like mofongo, which is a plantain, almost like a plantain mash, but very starchy, I would say. Um, and then, then the server's job is to kind of sell it and make them know, instead of having potato, in Latin America, their starch is having a much greener plantain, which is good in potassium and X, Y, and Z. And then it goes with a sauce to, put it all together. And then they would just be like, oh, I'll get that, you know, just because it's something familiar to them and something different, But, there's sometimes like I would make like something simple, like a hamburger or something, and then you would just put in something different just to make it a part of that menu,
Mhm.
or at least a part of that cultural influence. And they were just, or you put like our burger is a Wagyu burger, but we put manchego cheese from Spain, and we just put tomatillo salsa, like a green salsa, and really good burger. And we mix it with the ground Wagyu. We put chipotle. You can try this. It's actually really good. And then that flavor profiling is familiar because it's like I'm eating a hamburger, but at the same time it's elevated, it has that heat. So you just kind of play around with it, and the cool thing about working at a restaurant like mine, or just working in restaurants, is whatever the base of your restaurant is, like the cuisine and stuff. You can also, like, for being Filipino, I could take something that's Filipino, and just because there's a lot of Spanish influence in our cuisine, and you could just explain it in layman's terms to like our service to sell it. Like, I believe one time I made a sinigang, which is a tamarind broth soup from the Philippines. But I added some chilies to the broth. I served, I think, a seared halibut or barramundi. I forget. It's just a seared fish, and then I had them pour the tamarind broth, or the sinigang broth table side, and I sold a couple, but just because your demographic only like really like the people who are willing to try something different and this and that, they'll try it. But like, to really sell something at your restaurant, you got to really look at your demographic. Like, if it's young Gen Z's or millennials, they'll probably, I was sold out that day. I sold maybe 10 and I had 20 orders, so I sold some. But if I had, let's say, something else, like we go back to the meat and potatoes or something simple, it would have sold out, just because your demographic, you have to know your audience and what they want to eat, right?
100%. Now I'm curious. As you were talking, I just thought to myself, I'm like, what is your most popular selling product, or like dish? Like, what's your highest selling dish?
uh, well, since the conception of our restaurant in 1995, so we've been around for 20 plus years now. And one of the dishes, I would say, according to my Cuban friends and people I work with, the ropa vieja is pretty much a classic Cuban dish. I wouldn't say it's the national dish. They say it's a classic. People eat it a lot, but they didn't say, oh, it's the national dish. Like, adobo is the national dish of the Philippines, right? Um, but ropa vieja is just a braised beef dish served with a sofrito, which is like the flavor profiling of Latin America, which is peppers and onions. There's oregano, there's tomato. So that's like the basis of. So any, I'm gonna digress. Any culture has their flavor profile. Like Asia, it's ginger, garlic, and green onion, and you can use that and make it and put different sauces in that. But that's like the heart and soul of that
The
cuisine.
base. Yeah, the base
Yeah,
of it all.
like for Filipinos, it's you have some of that, and then you have some of this
It's usually
Chinese
garlic,
influence, and
onions,
yeah,
salt,
you get the
pepper.
garlic and you put it in the rice, and you have tomato base, and then you put it in there, and you have like menudo and our version of it, and it's our culture is very of a melting pot of all of these
So
cuisines.
so ropa viejo is your highest selling dish, pretty much.
Yeah,
Your most
so it
popular dish.
starts with our garlic rice, garlic butter rice. You get
Ooh.
maduros, which are sweetened plantains, and then you get the ropa vieja. So it's a very savory, it's dish. It's really good actually, and it's our top dish, and we make tons of it, like tons of it. So
I'm gonna have to make a trek out there sometime and try that, man. You
oh,
you
definitely
really
do.
kind of
Enjoy the
sold me on
American
that
cocktail
one.
too.
I don't think I've tried a ropa viejo before, man. Now I want to take it in another direction now, man, because I know you personally. Obviously, you're my family. You're my cousin, and I know your path to getting to where you were. Um, and I also know that um you didn't quite necessarily when you were first studying and learning how to cook and getting into the whole culinary world. I'm not quite sure, but I believe Latin American flavors weren't really your your kind of first choice of like going in that direction. Am I correct in saying that? I think there was something else that you were aiming at, right? Was it more like Italian influence that you were trying to do, or
Honestly, like coming up in the industry, you kind of just go with whatever job, I guess, just because I've never worked with Latin America flavors and this and that. It was I was enticed to know more about it. So you
Mhm.
do your due diligence and, you know, researching and understanding the people and the food and the cuisine and, just everything about it before even going into there. So I got a thick packet from my chef when I got hired. I also bought a Cuban cookbook to really understand and go in depth and understand everything about it before I worked there, right? So let's say it wasn't a Cuban restaurant and it was like a Chinese restaurant or what have you. I would do the same thing just to understand it more. And obviously, day in and day out, you would work it and understand it even more and know how to play with the flavorings and what have you, right? Everything, all cultures are different, but they're all unique at the same time. So,
when you first got started, what food were you kind of most attracted to, or what culture were you trying to learn the most about?
mm, I still to this day eventually want to work with Asian food. I mean,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm Filipino, but at the same time, it's not like strictly Asian, you know? Um, like I said, like prior, our culture is derived of many cultures plus our own. So it's not like Chinese food is Chinese food and like all types of Asian food have influences, but they're all different in their own respects. So
Okay.
um for me, I honestly my ultimate goal is to go back to my culture because I honestly want to work with Filipino food eventually. So this is just like a stepping stone to my next ultimate goal, is to work with Asian and Filipino food. Even
Totally.
Hawaiian, Hawaiian food too. So
And again, you're my cousin, you're like my brother, man. So I know that you're so proud of your heritage, our culture, And I think that somebody like you is just an ambassador for the Filipino ethnicity, the culture. You represent that. You're proud of it. Like we got big, bold flavors. You're right. We definitely have influences from our conquerors and everything like that. But at the same time, it's such a dish that doesn't get that love like other Asian cultures do. You know what I'm saying? Like, and maybe and partly because it's not nearly as known to some people. And then we have some dishes that are they're not as palatable as like certain dishes, at least to other people that are not familiar with their culture. For me, I fucking love our food. I know you do, and we
Mhm.
got some amazing flavors. But um, I think with that intention, with that with that ambition of you wanting to do that, that I'm excited for that, man. And I want to see that next chapter in your life when that time comes, like continue to keep learning what you're learning right now. But dude, if you can somehow, and I believe it's going to happen in due time, but if once you get into that space where you're just like naturally doing what you're intended to do with your food, with our food, I feel like it could take on a whole new level. Especially out there, right? There's like a bunch of places out there that are doing Filipino fusion to kind of make it a little bit more kind of ease people into the whole Filipino culture with the food and everything like that, man. And they're doing
Yeah, but the funny thing with that is like, so I went to this place called Rose Cafe, and it's been in LA like for years now, like since I think the 80s.
is that
80s
the
or
one on Venice?
no, the Rose Cafe is like in Hollywood, like
Oh,
North
okay.
Hollywood. Um, so I was talking to the chef owner, and he was just like, the thing, like I met all these chefs that are doing like fusion and this and that, but it's kind of how did he put it? He said it's a little obscure or subjective because when a guest comes in, they go to this place and then they, let's say, have adobo, and they're like, "Oh, I've had that before. Oh, wait, this is not adobo. This is not what I've had," because those fusion restaurants would throw in little different things in there to make it its own, I don't know, dish, right? And to have a traditional adobo, you know, is different from having somebody's fusion adobo. So they're gonna have this idea like the fusion one is the right one, or you know, but they have that flavor profiling. But if they have a traditional one, it would be so different, right?
Right.
So, and that's why he was a little like, if you were to, I told him like, this is what I want to do eventually, later in my life. And he was like, if you were to do it, I would just go with introducing it as you would introduce it, like the traditional way, but not have it too obscure where people just have this idea that that's what it is, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying? So, and I was like, you know what? That does make a lot of sense.
That's
Yes, it's good if it was
that's
a fusion, but then I don't want my patrons being like, oh, what's curry curry? And they have it and it's like a hybrid of it, and you're just like, oh,
yeah.
they
No,
have the
that's
real thing in
that's
there.
that's always the struggle, right? I mean,
Yeah.
especially with Filipino food. You and I obviously grew up in Filipino households. We know our food. Our food is not, it's not nationally accepted or widely accepted as other Asian cultures' foods, and it's just not easily. I guess people just don't are not open to it as much as other Asian foods, but that's the struggle. So I understand why people are doing the fusion thing to kind of help ease people into it. But then, of
Mhm.
course, you're going to mix in and lump in some of those people that know the culture, especially Filipinos. They're going to be like, this is not adobo. This is not sinigang. Like even the dish that you said, right? The sinigang with the seared baramuda, like, yo,
uh,
like that is like a new take on it. But like if you go to like if a Filipino eats that shit, they're gonna be like, this is not sinigang. Like, and it's just like, bro,
exactly.
but like they're missing the point because I think it's because we're not as widely accepted as other Asian cultures, like it's just not as familiar to people. we have to do these different things to kind of introduce it to a wider group of people
Audience,
so
yeah.
that they can know and really familiarize themselves with the flavors, with the dishes, so that they can become more comfortable eating them and trying them, because dude, Filipino food is hella good.
Mhm.
But at the same time, man, I get it. And it's funny, dude. We could talk about this right now. In the Filipino culture, dude, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Especially the OGs, we got some haters, bro. My dad, uh, you know, our family, we don't go to Filipino restaurants. I do. I go on my own sometimes, but
Mhm.
my dad, my folks, they won't go because they'll be like, oh, why would I go there when the food we make at home is better? And I'm just like, bro, like there's not enough support within our community of just like
Mhm.
uplifting each other. And it's super critical. Like I guarantee you, like a place like you just mentioned, Rose Cafe, or even other places, even like a senior CC, there's probably some like a good amount of Filipino people that are out there being like, that is not Filipino, that's not CC, that's not Filipino, blah blah blah. Like, bro, you're missing the fucking point. We're trying to introduce this to a wider audience here so that we can put the Filipino culture on the map, bro. So I hear what that dude was telling you in terms of, kind of keep it authentic and shit like that. But at the
Mhm.
same time, hey, bro, I say follow your heart and not, hey, look, just like anything, like not everyone's going to be happy with what you're doing. And that's okay. Don't worry about them. Worry about the people that fuck with what you're doing, bro. So when you do get to that point, do you, bro? Straight up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, man. So as far as Filipino culture in your line of work right now, aside from that sinigang dish, have you ever experimented kind of playing with some of the Cuban flavors and Filipino flavors in
Not
other?
really.
Huh?
I try to keep it very black and white with our guests. Um, and sometimes I don't even add like, sorry to say, I don't even add Latin cuisine just because I know um, just because of my audience, you know. Yeah, they can order like an empanada or the ropa vieja, like I said, but like some of my specials are very like to the point. Like for the Valentine's menu, I have a lobster dish with a champagne brown butter sauce, um, and just like some sauteed veggies and roasted root veg. And it's just like what makes that Cuban is just like nothing. It's just the lobster that we get is a Caribbean lobster, which is from the Caribbean. And that's what makes it like its thing. But it's very like, oh, I'm gonna get that because I know what that is, and my demographic wouldn't have a problem like or hesitate. They would probably be like, oh, it's 10 ounces, Caribbean lobster. I've had that before. It's succulent, it's juicy, it's delicious. And brown champagne brown butter sauce, that sounds delightful. And there's, you know, something familiar to them, and they're probably gonna order it. So some days I'm just like, you know what? It doesn't have to be as long as there's like something of an influence in it, even just because of the protein being from the Caribbean, then I'll just make it like that, just to make it easier on our end and just to make it easier for our guests to really wrap their head around it.
Mhm.
Because sometimes you gotta explain every little detail to our guests, and we're at such a busy restaurant. I just want to make it simple for our servers to sell and for our guests to understand and accept what it is. But there are some guests who really want to know more about the cuisine and whatever they're ordering, and I'll come out, or uh, a server will upsell it to them, and they'll be like enticed to buy it, and there that goes.
Mhm.
So
That's dope, man. Now I want to bring it back to Filipino culture, man, because I think it's important we talk about this. I rarely get a chance to talk about it, and there's really not many other people that are better for me to talk to than an actual Filipino. You're my cousin, bro. Like, what I'm saying? We grew up in the culture, in the environment. So I'm curious from your standpoint, dude, like about Filipino culture, Filipino food, that you want to highlight the most when you eventually get that opportunity to
Probably, it's not just Filipino food that I want to do. It's kind of like I want to do my ultimate idea eventually. I don't know, maybe I'll be like 50 or 60 already by the time this happens, but we'll see. Um, is to embellish more on the soul of the cuisine and also have my other favorite food is Hawaiian food. So which is pretty much the same too in some regard because what is Hawaiian food and what is Filipino food, and one person that does that the best is Chef Sheldon Simeon in Maui, and I just got his cookbook and it was just like amazing. It's like a melting, well, it's Hawaii is the same thing. It's like a melting pot of all these cultures, and that's how the Philippines is. And him being a Filipino chef that grew up in Hawaii, it's inspiring. So I just want to wrap my head around making food like that. It doesn't have to be high end. Like I honestly just want to have like a 30-seat diner, but like the food is just like, oh my God, right? So I just want to capture that for people and make them feel homey. And I don't want to even have like a bistro or a high die restaurant. Just because I don't want it stuffy. I want it to be like you're coming to your homie's house, and then you have like a lull in the front. Do you eat yet? You eat? There's food here. So it's like the same idea. Like if I were to have a place, I want that for whoever goes to my restaurant eventually later in life
fuck yeah.
to have that feel of, man, I want to go back there because I felt at home. And like you can just talk to the guy at the bar or you can talk to anybody there and they'll just like chop it up with you and make you feel like you're at home and you're not at a restaurant, right? And it's kind of hard because you have to deal with so much, but at the same time that's the kind of atmosphere I want to create, not stuffy. you know I'm not trying to do any cutting edge techniques or anything like that. Just make it feel natural and homey.
That's fucking dope, man, because I think you kind of knocked out two birds with one stone with that answer to my question, because you highlighted the food and everything like that and what you love about it the most and how you want, but you also highlighted the experience of, you kind of touched on it. It's like you got the Filipino granny or auntie or whatever, just like, have you eaten yet? Have you drank yet? Eat, you eat, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like we're so welcoming, we're so friendly, we're so hospitable, and we're so kind. Like we have that home feeling, and I think that that's missing in a lot of today's society, man. And I think that it's so hustle and bustle. We all want to make a ton of money. We forget about the joy that simply being around one another does for us. And then breaking bread with one another, and that's what we do with the whole experience of food, right? And I think for me, speaking for myself personally, I've always been attracted to that understanding of the importance of sitting down with your loved ones, sitting down with the people you're actually with, and being present, enjoying the food, talking
Mhm.
about the food, talking about whatever's currently going on in your life. You know what I mean? That whole experience, I feel like you and I both grew up in that type of environment where it was always a priority placed on that, right? Like whenever my grandma specifically, when the food is ready, Christopher, come and eat now. Like as soon as
Yeah.
that motherfucker's ready, she's like, come and eat now. She don't want nobody eat when it's like, when it's, because she doesn't want it to be cold. She doesn't want the experience to be ruined and stuff like that. So that's very much of what we embody as Filipinos, right? We're very hospitable, we're kind, we love
Mhm.
having fun, we enjoy life, and I think that there's no better person, not many other better people than you to bring something like that to life. So I can totally see that happening for you,
Well,
bro.
and the cool thing is like, you go to these restaurants, you eat out on your days off and whatever, and you kind of just absorb whatever you see. Like recently for my birthday when I was in Vegas, my fiance surprised me with reservation at Best Friend, and Best Friend is one of Roy Choi's restaurants at the MGM Park or Park MGM Hotel. Um, Dude, that restaurant was like an eye opener. You could um, not alone do you feel like you went to, like, if you ever watch, hang, what is our show? The Korean supermarket show. Uh,
Uh, not sure.
it was on Netflix, but you feel like you go to a Korean owned supermarket, or not a supermarket, a market, like a convenience store, and then the host takes you to this back room and it just opens up, like you feel like you're in LA because they have like all these like really artistic photos of LA, just the vibe itself. But the cool thing is, what I would want is they had a live DJ. I don't know if I want to have a live DJ, but they were playing like 90s hip hop, and it was such a great atmosphere to be a part of, especially growing up in the 90s and being an 80s baby. Um, that feel of nostalgia of like listening to like rock cam and CL Smooth, and like just all of these, like Tribe Called Quest was in the background, and they were playing Fuji's at right after, and it was like they blended the music so well. Like that whole atmosphere plus the food being like Korean food, and it just encompassed like who Roy Joy is as a chef, as an owner, and who he is. Like, so if I were to do a place, I'd probably play like lo-fi 90s like hip hop just to create that atmosphere, and then have like bomb food that people feel like this dude's Filipino from SF and he's probably born in the 80s, and you know, but still like, mix in maybe some Filipino hip hop or something,
Well,
because
dude, dude, I mean, for those that don't know Jordan, this dude is a fucking lover of music, man, and specifically
oh yeah,
hip hop,
mixtape.
R&B, Hawaiian, island food. I've been to so many concerts with this dude, and he's curated so many playlists for me, and mixtapes over the years, dude. Like, and he always puts some like really dope gems, and he always supports the artists that he really supports, and by supporting their music through buying their music, going to their concerts, buying their
Mhm,
merchandise. This dude is totally a fan and just an appreciator of music, culture, life,
mhm.
and that, like, as you're speaking, I literally in my mind can totally envision that for you. I
I
don't
wish
think,
I had like you can have like a lounge and then they play like 90 slow jams and be like,
dude,
what?
I don't even think it has to be when you're 60, 70 years old, like you said. I feel like, honestly, bro, if you really made that a goal of yours that you want to accomplish within the next 5, 6 years, and if you really you made a plan and you stuck to it, you can absolutely do it. And like you said, you're not looking to fucking make a 300 seater like you're currently serving. Like, you just want like a
Yeah,
cool.
it's too taxing on my body.
Oh, that's, dude, that's, I can't even imagine the type of stress. Well, I could, because I've actually worked in the industry, so I know how it is, dude. But yeah, dude, that can only go for so long. Now, if you're in a place where it's just like it is literally your home, you're making really, big pots of food, like I can envision you doing. You're making rice plates that you love. You're having fun, kind of creating. You got dope music playing in the background. You got a dope ass little space. I
Hmm.
think so many people will flock to that, bro. And then on top of that, you would put so much notice on who we are as a culture, bro, for the Philippines, and really representing the Filipino um experience, man. You know what I'm saying? And I think more people in America.
Especially being a like second or third generation Filipino growing up in, San Francisco.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, you can go to a Filipino restaurant and they're playing like Basil Valdez, or one of the like Sharon Cuneta or something in the background or whatever it is,
You
you
see, I
know.
don't even know that fucking artist right there, bro. You just dropped gems over
Or
here.
Leia Salonga in the background, but
Oh
like
shit.
I know, man.
You can
But
you can even have fucking Joe Coy on the TVs in the background with the
oh
subtitles on.
yeah,
Like, you get, like, the crazy amount of directions you can go with that, because you're so creative. Like you're proud of who you are, and I think that when you do eventually own that space and operate that space, it's gonna embody fully who you are. Like whenever people walk through those doors, they're gonna get a a good dose of exactly who Jordan Eric Borlaza is, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Jeff, you know what I'm saying? But and yeah, I'm excited for that part of that chapter of your journey. I mean, I'm excited for where you are right now specifically, but I really feel like this is only the beginning because
Yeah,
even
I
though
already had like ideas like what I want with like decor and stuff, and we'll see. I mean, I just wanted to make it feel like natural, like you, like I said, like you're going into like your homie's house. Like you would go there and you'd be like, oh man, there's a Last Supper scene on the wall, or like giant spoons and forks on the wall, or a rice hat or something.
hell yeah, dude.
And you're just like, where am I? Oh, I'm at my Filipino homie's house. So
For real. Are
it
you
makes me
gonna
feel welcome.
are you gonna ask people to take off their shoes when they come into the house too? I mean, come into the
Yeah,
restaurant.
I'm gonna have chanelas or chanclas, whatever you want to call them, just light all over the floor, and then be like, dang, I really feel like I'm here.
Oh
You'll
shit.
just have like plastic wrap all over the carpets too, so you don't like mess up the carpet. They'll be like, damn, this guy put so much
Hey,
thought into how he wants
if
it.
you're gonna do it, you got to do it right, bro. That's the only way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, man. Well, that's dope,
Longevity.
bro. That's hella dope. I could totally see that happening for you. But as it currently stands, where you're at right now, I'm very proud of the progress you've made. I'm very happy
Thank
for,
you.
you and your career path right now. I want to before we kind of like wrap things up here because we are kind of pushing it on time. I don't want to take too much of your time. I want to talk about a few other things and then we'll kind of wrap it up. But I want to ask you, what about because I know your journey to get to where you're at right now. Take us back a little further when you were kind of in a space where you didn't quite know what you wanted to do.
Yeah, so
How did you find or like what influenced you to get into the world of culinary foods or art?
um so I have to give it up to my uncle Ernesto Lukaku, your uncle, my uncle. You know, he left the Philippines. I don't know what age, but he left there and established himself in Honolulu or Oahu, the island in Hawaii, and has never looked back. And he wanted to be a chef. He had this idea, and he's been a chef and still going strong for what 40 plus years now, maybe longer. And I guess when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, like I was doing radiology classes, I was playing with the idea I wanted to be an interior decorator because, when you're at that age where you're just like uh, transitioning from being somebody in high school, and then you're like in the back of your mind, you're like, I don't know what I want to do in my life. Like a lot of my friends, like I'm gonna be an engineer, I'm gonna do this, I want to do that, I'm gonna take business. Me, I want to be or take a career where after year one or two, I wasn't passionate or I didn't want to do it. I was just making a paycheck just to get by. So it took me a while to figure that out, and our uncle saw something in me. I forgot what picnic or barbecue we were at. He was like, "Have you ever thought of being in culinary or becoming a chef?" And I was like, "Not really, to be honest. I enjoy cooking. I started cooking little by little when family came over, and my mom's a great cook, your grandma's a great cook, so just overseeing what they're doing, just kind of, I never really thought of it, and then he just saw something in me, and he was like, you know what, I'm here because there's like a big industry convention in downtown San Francisco. And I was like, okay. So I remember you, me, and your brother went. And from that day on, I was just over overjoyed. And I don't know, it was just like an eye opener. I was like, oh my God, this thing is amazing. Like we had so many different foods from so many different places. Like that was the same year like Faye yogurt was just a sample and nobody knew about it. Like Greek yogurt was just like not even a thing that people really want, because people yogurt was yogurt for so many years, and Faye yogurt was came out of nowhere, like Greek yogurt, this blah blah blah, and then you just try all these things like aged balsamics. We had so many different cheeses, meats, drinks, even like wines and stuff all over the world, and even domestically, it was just like sensory overload, especially like, you know, being that young and don't know what to do. Is just, and then you kind of look into it, and then my cousin Ron on my dad's side told me about how, or he was in a culinary program, and he said, yeah, why don't you give it a go, you can use me as a recommendation. And I don't know, I was like, fuck it, I'll sign up. And I did, and I never really looked back since that day. 2 years later, I graduated from the culinary program. I got my associates in science, and then pretty much when I was in school, uh, our chefs always told us like, you're not guaranteed a job right off the bat just because you graduated from culinary school. And I was like, yeah, that's very true. Our industry is very like, you have to start somewhere and just learn, and absorb whatever you can from the industry. And they give you the foundation and the skills you need to succeed and propel yourself forward in this industry. And yeah, it's either you have it in you or you don't. This industry is really not for everyone.
Yeah, you definitely got
Oh,
to pay dues, right? Like you've paid a lot of dues.
yeah, I was a cook, I was a dishwasher, and then fast forward 12 years later, I'm now a head chef. So yeah, you really have to pay your dues, dude. Like, I know there was like this like lawsuit with uh CCS, well, just La Cordon Bleu, because they used to advertise like, oh, you're guaranteed this job, and you're not guaranteed anything. You ain't guaranteed shit.
Mhm.
Like, and it's just funny because people are like, should I go to culinary school? I always tell people yes, but you don't have to go to like a trade school, or you go to like a culinary institute that you don't have to break the bank. Some are like 60 grand, 80, well at the time, but now they're like 80 to 100. You don't need to spend that much money. This industry is a learned skill. If you're passionate about it, you'll propel yourself to learn more each day about it. But it is good to go to culinary school so you know the basis, where everything came from, how to fabricate or break down proteins and this and that. And you know, those things, you either use them or you don't use them, but you'll learn every day as you go along in your career. So I say go to a culinary school. If you really want to be in this industry, so you have a basis. But if you were to just be a dry cook out of nowhere, it's gonna take you a long time to become where I am. It might even take you 5 more years. Unless you can just learn that quickly, then you'll be fine.
Mhm. Yeah, no, man, and that's dope. Thanks for kind of giving us a rundown of your experience and your path to lead you to where you're at, because I think it's pretty motivational, man. And I think it's also very real, because I think a lot of times we have these expectations. Like, there's a lot of people that are like, okay, I'm gonna go to college and I'm just gonna get a good ass job. Like, yo, nothing is guaranteed. Just because you finish it doesn't mean that like it's guaranteed it's gonna be just handed on a silver platter. You still got to go out there and work for it. You still got to show your value. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just gonna get hired. That's just not the way life works. And you know, I think the sooner people kind of understand that and accept that, you can really kind of begin to change your process and put yourself in a better position. You know what I mean? Like, you got to understand, you got to have this mindset of like, okay, if I really want something, there's a path to get there, but I have to really kind of put my head down, do what I need to do that's necessary to get me to that space. And I feel like you've certainly done that, man. You mentioned that you were uh, a dishwasher. You were never. I've known you forever, dude, and especially in these later stages of your life where you know where you were in a space where you didn't quite know what you wanted to do, things were in flux, and fast forward to where you're at right now. But there was a time where you didn't quite know what you were wanted to do, but you also never put yourself above having to pay those dues. Like just you being a dishwasher, you doing all these different things, working different odd jobs to ultimately land you to where you are right now. Now I'm curious, dude, because going down paths like that, there's a lot of resistance. There's a lot of things that are working against you. How did you maintain the type of mindset to keep pushing on?
See, and that's the thing that you can't really teach anyone is like how I said in the beginning, how my chef says what he values in me is my adaptability. You know, it's honestly, it's like it's either you have it in you or you don't, you know. And I'm trying to train my Sue to be the next exec Sue, but it's really something in yourself that you have to look deep down in yourself to like really um figure out for yourself. Because for me, like I come in the mindset and I've always lived this way is to stay positive, put out that good energy, because being where I am now, if I come in and I'm like my mind's distorted or I'm like grumpy or whatever, my team's gonna feed off of that, and then the day is gonna go like that, and then the month's gonna go like that, and then you're fucking shut up SOL, you know? And I can't
Get
have
out of
that.
luck.
Yeah, I can't have that. You know, if you go in with good vibes for that day, and then that week turns into that month, it turns into that year, the rest of your life, dude, you have to see the positivity in any situation, not just me being culinary and just in life in general. You have to have that mindset in your head, you know, like you gotta like fuck, I have so many bills, but dude, bills are gonna keep coming. Your credit's gonna keep stacking. You just have to figure out a way to, you know, get through it and, you know, be a human being and pay your taxes and pay your bills and, you know, because if you're like, you're setting yourself up for failure. And
Mm.
pretty much that whole mindset of staying positive and working hard, just fucking make it happen, dude. Like as easy as it sounds for me, because you know it took me a while to have this mindset. It's just something that you have to find in yourself to make it happen. It's like I want to be like I want to have a six pack, or I want to be so ripped and this and that. How are you gonna get there? You know, you gotta grind, you gotta put in the work to get there, right? With anything. So that's just like what I have to deal with mentally. You know, there's days that I want, like I said in the beginning, I want to punch and choke people or chop them in the throat. You can't, you know. You're like, okay, I want to chop this guy in the throat, but how am I gonna say it in a, you know, where I don't have to offend this person? You know, this is what you do great, but this is what you got to work on, and then I know you can do it, but so just do it for me. And then they're like, okay, chef. So,
That's hella funny, dude.
but you know,
That's
it
that's
is what it
awesome,
is.
bro. No, no, no. I want to say that's awesome, and that's so refreshing to hear you say that, bro. Because obviously, again, I've stated it so many times. Obviously, in the beginning, I introduced you as my cousin, as basically my brother. I know the struggles you've been through. I know the the details of the journey for you to end up where you're at right now. And looking back at our childhood, dude, I never once looked at you as like a negative person. You've always had this positive spirit about you, happy go lucky type of vibe. And that's, I think, is super important. And you're right. The responsibility of life can get heavy. The responsibility of having to deal with bills, the obligation of having to pay your taxes, do all these different things, right? But it's not going to help you. It's actually going to hurt you if you have a bad mindset about it, if you have a bad type of attitude about it, right? Like,
Mhm.
why not try to develop a better type of way of looking at things, a
Yeah, you
better
just gotta see
perspective.
the good things in any situation, right? You're like, what's a good situation here? I'm like, well, I don't know what to tell you, but there is something that you just gotta find it.
Yep, I agree with
That's
that,
not a bad
man.
answer.
Wholeheartedly, I agree with that, man. You've always been that way, which is why, like, to me, it's no surprise that you're experiencing the success that you're experiencing, man. And it's all like, I feel like it's really only the beginning for you, because if you continue to keep that mindset, which I know you will, it's only going to bring about so much more better things in your life, like in terms of your experience. And you already have so much to be thankful for. I know you recently just got engaged with
Mhm.
Paula, who we love dearly, and I'm very, very excited for you guys, and I'm very happy for you guys. Take us into that experience, man. And because I
Who?
know, again,
Paula?
I know your history, bro. I know, you know, like I just know that what you've been through, and to get to this point and to finally have met your soulmate, right? Like it's just like it must
Mhm.
be a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it is. You know, I don't know, obviously I know there's more guys like me out there that was like trying to like really like force it, I guess you can say, and like trying to find a partner. But honestly, when the time's right, the time is right, and it'll happen, right? And that's why a lot of people are like focus on yourself and this and that. And that's why, I waited so long. I mean, we were together 7, 8 years, and people were like, when is he gonna do? When is he gonna do? And it's just like, bro, I haven't left yet. I'm 100% faithful, and I just wanted to be in a mindset of this is the right time. I'm in the right place in my career. And then I did it. And it happened last November. So, but having a best friend, my queen, whatever, my lady, whatever you want to call it, or that significant person, um, helps a lot, especially in my career where it's stressful. But the cool thing about it is having someone that really understands you and the daily struggles you go through, especially with work. I told her, like, if you want to be with me, I'm barely home. My industry, I work anywhere from 10 to 16 hours. If you can deal with that and deal with the stress and blah, 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 then this is what you have to deal with. I still ask her to this day, like, really, you put up with me with all of that? I'm barely around, and I'm not there on the weekends. And, sometimes I get invited to things, and, my family loves her and accepts her already since even the first year. She's gone to so many events without me. And it's just funny how like people ask about her before they ask about me. Not to be spiteful, but they're just like, oh, how's Paula? I was like, great. How am I doing? I'm great too. But that's neither here nor there. That just tells me that they love her, and they love her being a part of the family already. So with any, I guess you could say, great man, there is an even stronger and greater partner for them to keep them grounded. Because I go through my daily struggles as a chef and as a person. I vent to her, and it just helps, having sat somebody. It doesn't even have to be a partner. It could be like your brother. Like if she wasn't around, I would console in you, or my brothers, right? Just having that person that you can lean on, because everyone has to lean on somebody. It doesn't have to be a romantic person. It could be like your brother, or like your grandma, or you can even talk to your fucking dog, because just letting your inner emotions out and talking to somebody or something, it just helps, because you can't have all of that built up tension in yourself, right? It'll just eat you alive. So having Paula has been one of the greatest joys in my life. And Jesus Christ, dude, I'm like, feel like I'm about to say my vows. Oh, I get emotional, bro. I'm waiting until my wedding, but
Shit.
it's been great.
That's
Okay.
awesome, bro. That's
I don't want
awesome.
to look like I look when I watched Frozen for the first time, bro. Got a little
Oh
more.
my God, dude. Funny story to those that are still listening. To this day, I still haven't seen the movie Frozen because this dude ruined the experience for me. This guy,
No, I didn't.
we were roommates in LA, and when Frozen first came out on DVD, he bought that shit. And I come home from work one day and the lights are off. It's like middle of the day and the lights are off. He's on the couch watching Frozen with like a box of tissue right next to him and he's crying. And there's no shame in that, bro. Like, but for me, it was just like, nah, man, I'm not putting myself in that situation. I'm not going to do it.
Bro, man, it was great. It was a good movie, dude. I mean, like,
Maybe,
imagine,
maybe I'll get around to watching it,
you're
bro.
away from your family, bro, and the movie's about like sister bonding. You know, I just thought of my brothers and how much I missed them, and it just kind of hit me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it made me feel some type of way. You know.
I feel it, bro. Hey, man, and which is probably why at that moment, I didn't really want to go to it because I felt, I think I was in a space where I was just so focused, just, trying to build a life out there. And I didn't really want anything that was going to get me in that
Yeah,
space.
you walked in and you looked at me like, this fool really crying right now.
Yeah. And again, there's no shame in it at all, bro. Like I actually respect and admire you for being in tune with your feelings enough to do that. But for me, at that point in my life, as I recall, I didn't want anything to do with it just because I wanted to continue to stay grounded in where I was at because it was a hard experience, uprooting our life and leaving. We were pretty much the only family we had over there was me and you, and yeah, we had some other family out in like Pomona, and we had a couple of cousins out in West LA as well, but we didn't really spend that much time with them, so we had to kind of figure things out on our own, and it was a dope experience. I've talked about it in detail several times throughout the course of making episodes in this podcast. It was very character building for me, as I could tell it is for you, man. These experiences that you've kind of been through in LA and you continue to go through, you're basically out there on your own still, bro. I mean, not on your own because you have Paula and you have your newfound family through Paula and you have a new set of friends and everything like that. But your family who you grew up with, who, nurtured you from, birth, we're all out here. I made the trek back to the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? And I know your ambition is to come back here at some point in life, but you just never know what's going to happen in life. You never know. You might open that restaurant and your roots are going to be over there. And when you start a family, it's going to be over. Who knows? Like, the point is we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but I think that being there, having that experience really shaped who I was, shaped who you are. And it's been a hell of a journey so far, bro. And
Mhm.
hey, man, speaking of Frozen, man, maybe one of these days I will actually sit down and watch it. I've been meaning to watch Coco. Everyone keeps telling me like
Oh, you
Coco.
gotta watch Coco. You gotta watch the recent one in Canto. So many good ones, bro.
I know you're such a avid Disney fan,
Oh, I
man.
love
You were just
Disney,
in
bro.
Disneyland yesterday, man, and you know, I have such great memories of when we first got to LA too, because you worked as a chef in Disneyland too at one of the restaurants over there, and
Mhm.
you used to get free tickets, so we got to go experience Disneyland together so many times, and it was so fun, dude. I've Look, I feel spoiled in saying this because there's a lot of people that don't even get to experience Disneyland, let alone experience it as much times as I've got a chance to. But there was a point where I was like, damn, I've been to Disneyland too many times. I got kind of sick of it. But it's forever embedded in my childhood, my history, my memories, and
Yeah, man.
yeah, dude, it's always gonna be, man.
You gotta go at least
Take
once,
it
right?
forever. I haven't been back in years though.
No, it's totally different now.
Oh, I bet, man.
There's
But
so many new things.
hey, man, this has been a great conversation, bro. Me and you have a lot of great personal conversations aside from a podcast like this and stuff like that. And I'm so glad that you um got yourself to get up and get on here, man, because I feel like you have so much value to offer with your story, with your energy, your spirit as who you are, man, and the story you're continuing to tell. Dude, you've become so much of a leader now, bro, because you know of your role. You've had
Mhm.
to step into that. You know, it like the responsibility that has been placed on you, like has kind of like pulled out a new Jordan, man. And this new Jordan, I'm like so proud of, bro. And I've always been proud of you, man. I always known that like you've been like a very loving person, super cool, super funny. We have some fucking crazy ass, stupid ass experiences, man. But um
Mm-hmm.
to see your progression, to see where you're at right now, man, it's like it's so cool to watch, bro. And just keep going, bro. I'm so proud of you, bro. And before we get on out of here, dude, do you want to leave us with any specific type of jam, like just something that you kind of want to leave the audience before we wrap things up here?
Uh, just to always. Can you see this?
No, we can't. You gotta blur out the background again.
Technology, man.
Yeah,
Sometimes
take that background thing off.
yeah. Let's look at what's in behind you guys. Let's look at all this craziness behind you.
Oh man,
Where? How did I do this?
I don't know.
So confused.
This
I
is
don't
why
even
you
know
work
how
in
I
the,
did
this is
this.
why you work in
Oh,
the
right here.
this is why you work in the chef world, not the tech world. Wow.
Here. Now you can read it.
Stay positive, work hard, make it happen. I like it. I like
I
it.
mean, that's on our work desk, and yeah, the craziness behind me. It's an addiction. Well, no, it's a little hobby I have.
There you
It's
go.
not an addiction.
What are those?
They're Funko Pops, bro.
Funko Pops. Yeah, and there's a huge community of people that buy those and understand the rarity of some of them. And
Yep.
yeah, so there's a whole fan base there, man. And
We could talk about that on another conversation.
yeah, definitely, man. It's been a pleasure, bro. Like I really enjoyed this type of conversation. You and I have some pretty random conversations a lot whenever we catch up, but it's cool to be able to share who you are with anyone that's listening to this, that's following the progress of this podcast. And I think what you're doing is inspiring, bro. You know, for you to get up every single day and bust your ass and do what you do because you
Mhm.
love it and build the career that you're building and set more plans to even do things bigger in your own way. It's
Mhm.
just dope to see, bro. And yeah, other than that, bro, let folks know how they can reach you if you want to be reached.
You can go on my Instagram on I just recently changed it. Oh, Chef Jordy 122, I believe. I think I changed it to. If anything, you can like and subscribe or smash that follow button. Just kidding. Uh, well, Bugs will tag me on this little podcast, but you can find me there and follow my chicken sandwich review. You know,
Yes.
that's my
Yes.
that's what I do on my off days once in a while. I go to random places and try their chicken sandwiches and give
Yeah.
you my actual feedback on if it's worth going there or not.
And
Um,
for those that don't know and that are going to get to know Jordan and follow what he does, that is absolutely part of his brand. It's a fun little clip that he does with new chicken sandwiches and stuff like that. My favorite part,
Sometimes it's not even chicken sandwiches.
yeah, it's just reviews and it's just him being genuinely Jordan. And it's great to see. And it for me, one of the funniest things about it is when he takes this massive bite of whatever he's about to eat and it just gets stuck in that fucking beard of his. It's hella funny, and he's just like nodding his head in agreement if it thinks it's a good if it's a good product or if it's a bad one, or he's just trying to figure it out. And it's
Mhm.
a fun thing to do. But yeah, and definitely folks go check him out at Habana Restaurant out there in Irvine. It's a great place. They serve great food, great atmosphere, fun, good drinks, good vibes, good food, good people, good music. It's well lit in a really cool space, you know. Just a overall fun experience. I've had the pleasure of going over there. I've sent people over there. And it's just dope. Dope vibes all the way around, man. So yeah, Jordan, thank you, bro. I appreciate you spending time on the
Cheers.
podcast, bro. Coffee should be dope, absolutely. And until next time, y'all, you know, continue to keep going, keep growing. Big love and stay blessed, y'all. Peace.